Give it a second. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Voices of the Unheard podcast, where we aim to reduce stigma by leaning into stories and experiences of people who have been incarcerated. My name is Lexi. I'm a doctoral capstone student with Later, the organization where Voices of the Unheard podcast was created. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Lonnie Johnson for our podcast today. So, Lonnie, I want you to first just start off by kind of introducing yourself.
Okay. My name is Lonnie Johnson. I'm 69 years old. I just finished over 35 years of incarceration with the Department of Corrections. I was paroled January 14th, 2025. I currently work at the Goodwill Industries, um, and I'm happy to be home because Michigan traditionally doesn't have the death penalty where we have lethal injection or firing squad or hanging or gas chamber, but they give you a life bit, whether it be parolable life or natural life. You are the walking dead. So I have to give all praises to God for allowing me to come up out from under that death sentence.
Thank you for that. So,
Very
Lonnie,
well.
I have some questions for you and just about your experiences. So I'm going to first start out by what motivates you day to day.
Ooh. Well, the first thing that motivates me, like I said, my spiritual belief in God, our Father God Allah is what I call him in our school of thought, and Him allowing me to return to society, be free again. Some of the other things that motivate me is my religious family, the 1928 portion of the Moore Science Temple of America. Uh, they have been behind me even while I was incarcerated. They are fully behind me since I've returned to society. Uh, the people who are on the Michigan Parole Board that voted for me, 6 members that voted for me out of the 10, they motivate me because they took a chance on me. And if I fail, then they have to answer. I don't want to have nobody again have to answer for my wrongdoing. Um, Also, Dana Nesser, our Attorney General, her office motivates me because one of her Attorney Generals wrote a objection my being paroled. So that motivates me. Uh, and of course, Lexi, you motivate because you've been with me for for almost the entire 90 days that I've been out, April 14th. And you you challenge me in so many ways. Uh, I don't want to let you down. I don't want to let my parole officer down. Uh, Ken Rogers. I don't want to let Dave Harris, who's part of my relapse prevention, Nichols. So I have a different outlook now. When I was out before, I didn't care about responsibility, but now I truly embrace responsibility. A lot of people ask me, they say, "What made you change?" What made me change was my spiritual belief and getting into programs like Thinking for a Change, uh, American Sign Language, Houses of the Healing, dealing with childhood trauma, and also being honest with myself in that it was my childhood trauma that made me the monster that I had become. So these are the things that motivate me. Uh, Also this motivates me, the reality. If I go back to prison at my age, I'll be 70 November 5th. I'll die in prison. They're not going to let me out again. So that motivates me. So when I was born free. When I pass form, I want to pass form.
Thank you for sharing that and all those sweet words. We are going to jump to kind of your life while being incarcerated. So, what was your day-to-day routine while being incarcerated?
Well, my day-to-day routine was I have a commercial cooking and baking certificate. So most of the time, most of the jobs I had rather were, in the kitchen. But I would get up about 5 o'clock in the morning, and my bunkie would be gone. He got up about 4 o'clock. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I do yoga. I would do meditation, uh, wash up, clean up, give me a cup of coffee, boom, and I was off to work. My normal day was like from 5 in the morning until maybe 7 at night. I would work in the kitchen. I would work as a cook, and I go work in the bakery. Uh, I also had time enough, like when I got off work, to go to the library, to the law library. I took correspondence courses. One of the correspondence courses I took was Blackstone Paralegal course, and I graduated with distinction. My grade point average was 96.16. Uh, so this was my day-to-day routine. This is what helped me make it, plus my going to my religious services. And the penitentiary has a lot of negative, a lot of pitfalls, and you have to travel on the high road. My circle of friends were very small because if you weren't for the right thing, and heading toward the door, trying to get to the other side of that fence, and not too much it had nothing to do with you, except for giving common courtesy of by and by.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. How about what supports did you have while transitioning out of incarceration and into the community?
Well, most of the let's see, I had joined, I had got on JPay, and I joined the Transformation for Prisoners, their organization. They had a JPay program, and I had two mentors. The first mentor I had was a guy named Michael, and the second mentor I had was a guy named Walt, who is now the CEO or head of the Transformation for Prisoners. Um, and then a lot of my Moorish kin in the penitentiary system. Plus, I had a lot of friends and stuff because I'd been down so much. I knew a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys had became family. When you spend time, whether it be in the military, and I'm an ex-military man, when you spend time in an adverse situation, and I'm talking about years and years and years, guys around you, they become family. When they hurt, you hurt. And when somebody in their family passed for them, it's like your family. And when they died, I had a lot of friends. They, I hurt for them too.
Take your time, Lonnie.
Yeah, but also, like when I was going through the Blackstone Paralegal course, I had a lot of the officers, a lot of the staff, MDOC staff. Just surprising, but they were behind me, on the days when I used to get Tuesdays and Thursdays would be the days that I would get test results, and that my unit officers would be there wait for me to open up my mail, and they'll say, "Let us see them test results," and then okay, you take care of your business. So, plus I had a guy named Mr. Alamine, reentry coordinator. He helped me out tremendously. Uh, he's the one that was telling me about some of the things I should do. Like one of the things he told me, he said, "Listen, get out there, make sure you got $1,000 in the bank, and because that's going to be your emergency." I've exceeded that a couple of times, so I'm paying it twice. But yeah, that was my support system. And it's not like professional parole agents, and when you know life after incarceration or nation outside and stuff. The support system that I had, I did the best that I could.
Have these other Nation Outside later, have these organizations been helpful to your transition?
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. You know, the organization that you work for, I would recommend that it become part of the curriculum of guys when they get out. That this is something that they must go because they can get a lot from it. I've gotten a lot from it. Even at my age, I mean, you know, prisoners are proud people. We're proud people, but we're ignorant. And so those are two attributes that will put you back in prison. So you have to learn how to be humble. You've got to learn how to start depending on others. I know I got a kind of a free spirit, and that's something that you and I have been at odds about. Like, hey, this guy, he's a free, but there are times when I'll bow, and I'll say, hey, look, you're right with your system.
Yeah. I'm glad that they've been of help for you, though.
Yeah. Now,
Did you have something you wanted to add?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. What do you wish you had coming home that you did not have? And this doesn't have to be necessarily support-wise. This could be people, materials, resources, books, anything of that sort.
Well, the one thing that the MDLC did, whether it was intentional or not, is that they kind of hamstring. Because when you get out, they're supposed to make sure or ensure that you have all your vital documents. In my case, that never happened. The only documents that I had on the day that I paroled was my parole papers, my Medicaid card, and my birth certificate. They didn't give me my birth certificate. I mean, my Social Security card. They didn't give me my discharge papers. I found out later on that my discharge papers officially disappeared, and they didn't give me my state ID. So when I got out, first month, these are the things that I had to do. I had to prove who I was because I had been gone for so long. Even the people at the at the Social Security office, they were like, "Hey, you don't exist on our system." The same thing with the Secretary of State. You don't exist in our system. So once the Secretary of State contacted my parole agent, then it was like, okay, now we know who the guy is, or we got somebody to verify. So now I can go ahead and try to get state ID. I don't have a driver's license, I can get ID. Now, once I got state ID, boom, now I can go ahead and get my Social Security card. Like I said, that took a month, and that took away from me, be able to find, employment and do other things.
Mhm. How about what do you want others to know about this transition from being incarcerated back into the community?
Uh, it's it's not an easy transition. You're gonna go through some things. Uh, I went through some. I went some. I went through some stuff. Let me give you an example. Uh, I was on the Stadium Drive bus. Uh, I got off, here my business, went back to the bus stop, and waited for about 15, 20 minutes. Bus came back around. And there were a lot of people on the bus, and there were like 5 or 6 people waiting. And all of a sudden, when the bus pulled up and the doors opened, everybody started getting on. And my feet were like they were welded to the ground. And I was just stood there and I couldn't move. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And, praise Allah that the bus driver, he recognized it. He got out of his, with the bus in the park and he got out of his little cubicle, came out and he said, I'm not trying to get in your business. He said, you just get out of prison? I said, yeah. He said, listen, come on, get on the bus. He said, I want you to sit in the first seat. I got you. He said, I'll take you where you want to go. And I had to recognize it. Anxiety. About 2 weeks later, I had another one. This was inside the Cricket store when I was going to get my phone. And the guy behind the counter and two other people was like, hey, you all right? Stuff. And I told him, I said, listen, finished over 35 years of incarceration, they was like, oh, man, you having like a panic attack. All new to me. You know, my prophet talks about the electrifying age in the Moorish literature. And at the time that my prophet was born, telephone, telegraph, uh, machine gun, the tank, dynamite, these were considered the electrifying age. When I came out here, that telephone, that little phone that I got, it was like, beam 'em up Scotty. So one of the things that the MDOC needs to do is get everybody coming out, especially guys done 20, 30, 40 years, is computer literate, because they don't want you to have access to computers or phones or this and the other stuff. But what you're doing, you're putting the guy at a disadvantage. And he's got to come out and spend time, learning this. When he can learn it in there and get out here and hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are some of the things that I would, because going to the grocery store is like it's, it's something else, you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
For sure. It's a change in environment, change in pace.
no doubt, no doubt. And what you have to do is you just have to show a little tenacity and stay with it. Sooner or later, like now, I'm comfortable going in the stores, getting buses, dealing with this phone thing, and I thank you for that. You gave me that, that scavenger hunt with the phone and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I appreciate
Hmm. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I like, what was that?
it. I didn't say that.
Oh, I like that you touched on the difficulties with tech literacy and acclimating back to that. If you could change anything about the system, what would you change, Lonnie?
Whoa. Well, the one thing I would do is this. You know how the United States, every state, give our veterans, we look out for them, try to look out for them the best, especially when it comes to appointment. And in some instances, in some states, if you hire a vet, the company that hires them get a tax cut. Well, they should do the same thing as come out, because the number one thing that harms and hurts a former prisoner is employment, trying to find employment. Let me give you an example of this. I went to an establishment, and I won't mention it. Uh, Went inside and gave them my application and my resume. And the woman was pleasant enough, but when I was walking out of my peripheral vision, I seen she took my resume and she took my application, all it up. So, so and because on my inside my resume, on my application, I tried to be transparent, let them know, hey, look, I've been incarcerated. So, the state can help with that. The state can help with that, but um, you know, sometimes, I mean, and the system has gotten better than what it was before. At 1 hour, like 25, 30, 40 years ago, they give a guy parole, give him $25, and give him a bus ticket and tell him, hey, look, report to your parole agent. All the programs like that we have now, on terms of resources and stuff, they didn't exist.
Hmm.
So I was doing it real bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you touched a little bit about like stigma. How has the stigma impacted you?
Ah, well, I feel it. I felt it. I felt it. So, unfortunately, I will say this: we live in an environment, and this doesn't go for everybody. We live in an environment where a lot of people love to hate. They love to hate for religious reasons, or hue of your skin, your political beliefs, uh, your economic situation. So if they'll hate a person for religion, they can't stand a person who's been incarcerated. We use that old quote as well. I paid my debt to society. You've never paid your debt to society. Wear that stigma forever, that scarlet letter. And no matter what you do, a lot of times, a lot of people still not going to accept. A house could be on fire, and I could run inside and save 4 or 5 children. And I'll be the hero of the day until people find out, oh, he was formerly incarcerated. Oh no, oh, he probably set the fire. That's how they, that's how they look at you. But I just, but they hated Jesus. They hated Buddha, Muhammad, Confucius. So who am I? They're gonna hate me too. So I just try to get out here and do the best I can.
Mhm.
As long as I'm proving to myself, like, hey, that I can become a productive citizen, one who can hold down a job, pay his bills, pay his taxes, help his neighbor, and help others in need, then hey, all's truly well. Because in
Mhm.
the science we believe, what Drali tells the Moors, if you let your good deeds outweigh your bad, then when you pass away, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I'm not worried about man. I'm worried about God.
Mhm. Yeah. What would you tell others about like the stigma placed upon you as far as being formerly incarcerated?
Well, they're gonna have to deal with it. Have to something that they're gonna have to deal with. But see, this stigma doesn't just it's not just society itself. Uh, so I can tell you from experience, this stigma it happens in while you're incarcerated. You got a lot of officers that can't stand. They don't look at us as being human. They don't treat us like. And I told a lot of guys, I said, it scares me to death. I said, I want to be free, but it scares me to death to die. And you might say to yourself, well, why does it scare you to death? Like getting on a bus or this and that. No, because of this. If they'll kill somebody like George Floyd, didn't have a criminal record. If they'll beat somebody like Rodney King, didn't have a criminal record, what do you think they'll do to me? You know? What do you think they'll do? And so, I see a police car go by, I'm walking, be praying to God, like, hey, don't stop. Because, a lot of people bring what's going on in their life to work. And we've all done it. And unfortunately, people can have it.
Mhm.
So, but it's something that everybody's going to have got to deal with. You got to be thinking.
Yeah.
Once again, my prophet tells me, hey, if I can get you to think, you can save yourself. I'm always trying to think.
Mhm.
So the guys who are coming out of here, are coming out to the free society, got to be thinking. Time you get up in the morning to the time you go.
For sure. Okay, how has the transition impacted you for the better?
Well, meeting people like you. meeting people like you, meeting people like Dave Harris, like Ken, like my parole agent, uh, meeting people at work. My job is so wonderful because I've never worked for a company like Goodwill. Is like the Goodwill I'm working for. I'm on my ID card. It says Lonnie Johnson, team member. It don't say employee. It says team member. Key is in the language. So that means me being a member, I'm part of something. I just don't work for you. I'm part of what you trying to
Mhm.
accomplish.
What you represent. Mhm.
So, you know, uh, guys coming out, they will find that not everybody, not all stormy and dark clouds, not everybody's. A lot of people out here really care about humanity, care about helping the next guy or those who are less fortunate.
Mhm.
I'm blessed. Noah Ali says he asked a question in the questionnaire. He said, "What is an angel?" And the answer is, an angel is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. And see, humans don't, when we think of angels, we think of Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and stuff, and all these, you know. But we have the ability to be angels of mercy by helping other people. So I can never pay the debt that for the help that you've given, the help that my support team. I'll make it easy to get up in the morning and all day and then jump into bed at night and continue with every day.
Mhm.
I wish uh, I wish I'd have had people like yourself and these other ones that I'm talking about in my life, 35, 40 years ago. Might have never went to the pen.
Mhm.
Fortunately, was a route that I had to take to become a better person at adversity, even though it was self-imposed, and though I shot myself in the foot numerous times. Yeah.
Mhm. How has the transition impacted you for the worst?
Oh. Well, sometimes I feel like a cat on a hot tin roof, especially when I know that it's like 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 when the woman threw away my resume and my application, you know, it took all the power I could muster, not say something verbal, bash out verbal. But I had to be thinking because if I'd have said the wrong thing, or if she would have misinterpreted my, chastisement or admonishment as being aggressive and called the police, you know what would have happened. Uh, it's dealing with the stigma, dealing with
Mhm.
which is people's personal prejudice.
Mhm.
But all humans have it. Like some people like Cocoa Krispies and some people can't stand it. So, it's just one of the things you just got to get over. But how I get over it is I just mentally, I pray. And then I find myself doing this. This is something that I I thought I could never do. Learn how to do. One of the greatest lessons that Jesus taught, he was hanging on the cross, said a prayer. A lot of people don't look at it. He said a prayer. Yes, he did. He said prayer was simple. He said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." I find myself saying, and I mean it. I say it to others, not what they do. Oh, yeah. It's even though with all this adversity that's going on out here, I still rather be out here, because penitentiary guys are losing their lives by other prisoners or staff or the medical people. It's out here, I got a fighting chance. I can control my own destiny.
Yeah. All right. Next question. If you've been appointed the warden of the facility you were incarcerated in, what would you do?
Well, there's one place known as the vocational village. It's MTU, and MTU they have a lot of programs, And a lot of these programs, you can take them and then get state certification in them. Like they got auto mechanics, they got welding. These you can get state certification. They got the driver school. They also have Mount Con Community College. They got Calvin College, where you can get a theology. theology. They got Central Michigan University. But yeah, but I would bring in I would bring in computer data, all these type of. There's one prison where they have a program where you can become a lineman, working for a DET. Uh, these are these are skills that ones need, are ready to get out. Having a job is the most important thing that a prisoner can have. Now he's earning a keep, paying his taxes, but he's got a sense of purpose. And a lot of us who are trying to do the right thing, that's what
Mhm.
so yeah, definitely programming.
Yeah, good. What advice would you give our listeners that you wish someone would have given you?
Oh, hey. Hmm. Well, I would have to say, no matter what, you got to do like the Badger, the Wolverine. Badger and Wolverine, they turn their back, dig a hole, and they butt up in it, then they show their tenacity. Have to come out and show your tenacity. You have to, you know, get on that path, stay on that path, stay righteously on it. I used to get up, well, you know this, Lex. I used to get up 5 o'clock in the morning every day before I got this job at Google. I still get up at 5 o'clock. But I used to get up at 5 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, I have a GPS tracker on. At 8 o'clock, they would let me out the house and I would hit the pavement, putting in applications, going on interviews and other stuff. That's the kind of tenacity that guys have to do. You
Mhm.
know, uh, it's something that I wish somebody would have told me that I was going to go through a lot of stuff. It's been a long time since I've been on a job market to find a job. Was something else. I had people lie to me, talking about we're not interviewing, we're not hiring and stuff. Next thing you know, on Indeed or one of these, you know, companies that deal with employment and stuff. I see the job and I'm like, crazy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You just got to keep fighting. Sooner or later, if you're doing the right thing, see, I believe this. If you're doing the right thing, God gonna see you. No matter what it is that you're trying to do right. I'm not talking about standing on the corner, shaking a sack, trying to sell some drugs. I'm talking about righteous behavior. If you're trying to do something righteous, He gonna send you some help. All you got to do is stay with it. You got to go through that adversity.
Yeah. All right, last question. What do you hope listeners take from the podcast?
uh, besides how wonderful a person you are, and how no, seriously, and how beneficial your organization is. I hope they take away that, hey, I seen a guy or I heard a guy that did 35 years and he's out there doing good. Got a job, got this, that, and the other. He's talking about going to college, or continues his studies. If he can do it, then I only did 5 years. I know I can do it, you know. Or I only did 10 years. I know I can. Or I only did 20 years. I know I can do it. I hope I'm the example, or the motivating factor like I said, I'm almost 70 years old. I'm out here. So for guys in his 40s or 30s or 20s, I know you can get up off your butt, man, and get out here and roll your sleeves up and take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's
But
great.
but you know, yeah, but you know what? I wanna say something. One more thing I want to say something before we close out because I know you also. I want to thank my parole agent. So see, I think it was at our second meeting. I walked in and I met my parole agent for the second time. And at the end, he said, "Hey," he said, "by the way," he said, "I got this person that's with this organization, and I want to know if you're interested in, you know." And I told him, I said, "Listen," I said, "I will accept any help that's given to me, any help." And I'm gonna tell you something, Lexi. You know, that day there, that's one of the best answers I gave in life by saying yes, accepting the help of you and your organization. And I mean that seriously. So I want to thank him. I want to thank your superiors in Lansing. And I think there's two of them that I've seen on YouTube.
I think so.
Uh, I downloaded the YouTube thing and I was watching about y'all.
Yeah.
And I want to thank them. You know, I don't know why he reached out or why you reached out to him or whatever, but however it happened, it was a godsend. I want to thank
I appreciate all the kind words. And I'm really grateful that you were able to come on this podcast and share some insight. And yeah, thank you for taking the time to do this.
you. You're welcome. You're welcome, and I'll do it again anytime that y'all need me.
Perfect. Well, that's it for this episode, and hopefully you join us next time. Have a great day.
Hey, you sound like a real disc jockey.